Of all our stars, she shone perhaps the brightest of them all, for a short time at least. She played Shakespeare in London, Stratford and New York. She won an Oscar playing opposite Marlon Brando. But she'll be forever identified with a single film and a single role. And what a role it was.
Hollywood comes on wings of the wind to Atlanta, Georgia, for the event all Dixie, indeed all America, has been waiting for. The world premiere of the film of Gone with the Wind, in which the chief part of Scarlett O'Hara is played by Britain's own Vivien Leigh, and here she is.
I mean, even now, if you judge by the numbers of bums on seats, Gone with the Wind has been seen by more people than any other movie ever. So, and she won the Oscar, Scarlett O'Hara, and she was brilliant in it.
I think it's quite extraordinary that Vivien Leigh's art was a reflection of her life, basically. I mean, when you look at her on screen in Gone with the Wind, she is doomed already. You can see it in her eyes.
Vivien Leigh battled all her life against adversity. At the tender age of 8, she was sent from her parents' home in India to a convent school in southwest London. But if she was a lonely child, she was also precocious, announcing to schoolmates that she hoped to be a famous actress. Her prayers would be answered, but not before a curious incident that seemed to foreshadow her lifelong mental illness.
When she was at her little convent school in Roehampton, her parents were living in India. They'd obviously sent her over to a convent school. She was alone. They sent her a doll in the post, which Vivien unwrapped. And she discovered that the head was broken. And that's probably the greatest metaphor for Vivien Leigh that you're ever going to get.
She was a manic depressive. She also suffered from tuberculosis. She was not a strong woman physically.
In Vivien Leigh's lifetime, there was no effective treatment for manic depression, and tuberculosis would eventually kill her at the age of 54. But debilitating illness was balanced by cast-iron self-belief. At the age of 23, Vivien met her second husband, Laurence Olivier. Their partnership would bring her to the very top of the theatre world, and to the biggest role in Hollywood.
She was very ambitious and very self-confident and knew what she wanted out of life and went for it. And so in a sense, I guess Scarlett O'Hara is very much the same kind of character.
In December 1938, Vivien Leigh deliberately engineered a meeting with Olivier's Hollywood agent, Myron Selznick.
For artistic reasons.
Selznick's brother David was the producer of Gone with the Wind, but had not yet found his leading lady, even though filming was already underway. With her eyes on the prize, Vivien Leigh made it clear to Selznick that she alone was born to play Scarlett O'Hara. Myron Selznick's intervention was decisive. That same evening, he introduced Vivien Leigh to his brother as Scarlett O'Hara.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've spent quite a good deal of my time on Peachtree Street this year, and now that I'm here, it feels just as if I were coming home.
Like Leigh herself, Scarlett was a whirlwind of conflicting emotions and desires.
I mean, certainly willful, certainly spoilt. Selfish as hell.
Miss O'Hara, isn't it thrilling? Mr. Lincoln has called the soldiers, volunteers to fight against us.
Fiddly-dee, don't you men ever think about anything important?
But it's war, Miss O'Hara.
At the same time, there's a really clear, strong, hard, I don't think terribly likable person comes across, but it's somebody you admire, and also, of course, very, very, very beautiful. And the final scene, you know, with her alone, I mean, that sticks very much in the mind. She's a survivor above all else.
I'll think of some way to get him back.
After all, tomorrow is another day.
Deep in the heart of Devon, in a town called Topsham, there's a little-known enchanting tribute to Vivien Leigh's epic role of Scarlett O'Hara. Anne McMenamin is a volunteer at Topsom Museum and has spent much of her time conserving one particularly valuable Vivien Leigh relic.
When Vivien died, her daughter, Suzanne, thought that her Aunt Dorothy would like to have some of the memorabilia from her mother, Vivien Leigh, at the museum.
When clearing out the family's local home, one especially interesting item was discovered, wrapped up in a plastic bag.
This is the most exciting piece and the most terrifying piece, because I came in one morning and there was a carrier bag on the counter with a little notice in handwriting, "Clothes of Vivien Leigh," was this. And it looked dreadful. It was rolled up. So we hung it out, put it on a wire coat hanger, and everybody touched it and squeezed it and wondered what it was. And we really decided that it was a nightdress that Vivien had worn as Ophelia, or just a nightdress. And it hung out on the landing. It wasn't until we picked the lass up from the library in Exeter, who was helping us to redo the room, and she handed me this script, and I saw the nightdress that Scarlett O'Hara, Vivien Leigh, had worn in the film Gone with the Wind. So we scrambled out of the car, sort of hysterical elderly ladies, and we rushed upstairs and we got a magnifying glass and jumped up and down, and we realised that because of the provenance, that it had come from Suzanne, that it had got to be it.
It was indeed the nightdress in which Vivien Leigh had enraptured audiences as the irresistible Scarlett O'Hara.
Oh, she wept with delight when he gave her a smile, and trembled with fear at his frown.
When the filming of Gone with the Wind was complete, the producer, David Selznick, invited cast members to take away one item from the wardrobe department. Vivien Leigh chose this nightdress.
And then we thought, well, it looks so dreadful. If we're going to show it, I'll have to iron it. And I ironed it. And I just felt it was a magical moment because I was so aware of her. It really was. It was extraordinary.